Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Zubin Chagpar, Regional Head, Middle East and Africa, Worldwide Public Sector, Amazon Web Services.
Welcome to everybody. This is super exciting for us, and I hope super exciting for you as well too. Today we are joined by 2,000 of our closest friends. Thank you for giving us your time today. Super exciting. Because we're just going bigger, we got a lot of stuff in store today, so thank you for spending time. This day today is about learning. This is a learning and building summit. So please take the time to learn. We have people from the Middle East, all across the Middle East, and also across the world as well too. So thank you for joining us. We've got customers here today. We've got partners and colleagues as well. And again, what you all have in common is that learning index. You're indexing across learning. So thank you for that. Now, today we've got an incredible schedule. So I'm going to give you a little bit of housekeeping stuff. First of all, we have a keynote. You are in the keynote right now. So if you didn't know that, you're in the keynote now. So thank you for joining our keynote. In the keynote today, we're going to be joined by 3 of our global leaders at AWS. And they're going to take some time to tell you what we're doing across the Middle East and across the world as well too. So we thank them for their time. They've been with us on this journey for all these years. And then we're going to be joined by 3 customers. These 3 customers are going to share their stories, and we thank them for taking time to share their stories with us. We're hoping that these stories encourage you to learn more and build. Now, after the keynote, we've got some lunch, and lunch is on us. So I ask that you take time to nourish, to get well caffeinated, because after lunch, we have some incredible breakout sessions. Today, we've got 4 tracks, and in those tracks, you can do everything from learning about why the cloud has value. You can also learn about new technologies like AI and machine learning. If you're confused of what database to use for what situation, you can learn about that today as well too. And you can also learn about what our partners are doing across the digital landscape. Now, talking about partners, I do want to take a moment to thank our wonderful partners that are here today, spending time with us and helping you and us grow. I'll take a moment to highlight Intel. Intel has been with us on this journey for 10 years. They've helped to make the cloud faster and more secure. VMware. If you're using VMware today, or if you're looking to virtualize your environment, you're in no better hands. With VMware, you can jump onto the cloud, use the native services of AWS, all with a simple vMove and having that vSphere view that you've grown accustomed to. Thank you, VMware, for joining us today. They're here downstairs at our expo. Please take some time to chat with them. Veeam. How many times have we heard that data is important? Data is incredibly important as we build new solutions and build new services. Veeam makes sure that you have that resiliency with that data. They've got the data redundancy, they've got the data disaster recovery, and intelligent management of your data as well too. And then finally, we've got Datadog. With Datadog, if you've got your environment and you've got articles scattered across your environment, you can see your servers, you can see your applications, you can see your metrics as well too. So take a moment to talk to Datadog, and also all our other partners here. They're downstairs at the expo, so when you have a moment free, you won't have too many moments free with all the training we have today, but when you do have a moment, please go down and talk to them and all the other wonderful partners and students and other folks building today. Now, did I mention that today's about learning? I wasn't sure if I brought that. Did I bring that up? Okay, it is about learning, and please do take that moment to learn, and with learning, take that moment to build. I'm super excited to be part of the Middle East and North Africa region. I've been here for a couple years now. We've been building for a few years now as well in the Middle East and North Africa. And I'm asking you to take what you learned today and go and build. If some of you are in the crowd today and you don't know really what cloud means and what the technology is built on top of that, we actually have a lab today that you can use. In 10 minutes, you can go and build something. So whether you're sitting all the way in the back or all the way in the front or anywhere in between, please take a moment to go to the lab and learn how to build, because it is building. Now, since I stress it's about building, I want to call up one of the best builders I know, the person who is the founder of our public sector business and our global leader, Theresa Carlson.
There you go. Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you? Good morning. How are you? It's so great to be back in Bahrain. Today I got here 2 nights ago, I guess, and I've already had a set of amazing meetings with amazing leaders doing amazing things. So thank you guys. We are really, this is a really special time for us in the Middle East. We started our journey here around 2014, and we've come a long way. It's 2019, and a lot has absolutely happened since then. And again, just thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the journey to innovate and think about technology differently for your mission and what you're doing just overall, both in the government and in the private sector. This is our 3rd summit in Bahrain and continues to grow. I actually don't know what we're going to do next year. It's getting really big, and we hope you love the conference, the summit, because like Zubin said, this is about learning. It's not about sales. This is about you learning. It's education. So today we hope that you really enjoy the breakout programs. You're going to hear from Mark Ryland today on security, and Mark was my second solution architect in my business. Now he works in our security team. And Mark and I were talking. He came with me, I think, on my first or second visit. And I remember we were actually putting together a presentation deck when I spoke at one of the government conferences. So it's great to have him here today, and he's going to talk to you about all things security, which is a really important topic for not just here in the Middle East, but everywhere around the world. But again, love the program. But of course, we are celebrating something very exciting here in the Middle East, at least for us and hopefully for you. Today, we announced our new region, which is now open. Let me tell you, this is such a labor of love. And, you know, for those of you who know Amazon Web Services, when we open a region, a cloud region, it's a very big deal. It takes a lot of effort with support from the government, from the private sector. We make a huge investment into the economy. We don't just show up and put a few servers into a data center. We show up and we really build things. We are builders, and we build things, and we try to come into the economy and become a really strong partner. So we opened it actually in July, kind of a soft launch, and it has what we call 3 availability zones. So it's basically 3 different locations with data centers so that you have everything you need for cloud, for backup and redundancy. And this new region brings our global network to 69 availability zones around the world with 22 regions and growing. And I remember when I first started, I think we had 3. So we continue to grow. So in addition to what we have here, this is our only cloud region, but we have also 3 additional edge locations across the Middle East, 2 here in Bahrain and 1 in the UAE. And then we have 3 direct connect locations as well. There's so many people to thank on my list of thank yous that it would be totally endless if I went on and on. But a few people that I really do want to call out is His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, for his leadership, who I met back in 2014 and just really saw his energy and enthusiasm for innovation and transformation. And I think this country is an example of what you guys do and are continuing to try to do. Khalid Rumehi, who has been my partner the whole time for the Economic Development Board, now in a new role, but thank you, Khalid, for your partnership. And your entire team, including Sheikh Mohammed, who I see over there, who was kind of our project manager along the way. And then IGA, Mohammed, thank you so much to you and your team for everything that you all did. Batelco, who was an amazing partner, still is, doing amazing things. Tamkeen and Iwa, who, again, all these people and the wonderful people and partners in the room. Just thank you so much because, again, this is a labor of love across a whole lot of people. And again, the things that we've done and are doing here are much more transformative. Just as an example, with, like I said, Batelco, who had to really work with us on total transformation on what we had to do. And then also, I just want to thank my team, my entire team, and also Andre, who introduced me to the Crown Prince for the first time. So thank you so much to all of you for all the work that you've done. So can we get a big round of applause for everybody? So again, just super, super grateful. And what does this kind of mean for you all? Well, you know, the big change in technology is the fact that you can now be builders. The thing that cloud computing has really changed is the opening of this region allows you to be builders. And it's important now that you can understand how you utilize technology to experiment and fail fast and scale both your business or mission or even try things. This is just a great service for entrepreneurs and startups. And with this region, it really makes it much closer to what you're doing in terms of daily use and work for everything you're trying to achieve. So it means you can innovate literally on everything or anything imaginable. And this morning, you're going to hear from some of our amazing customers on what they're doing to innovate. And what I find is we can tell you a lot, but our customers actually always have the very best story to hear. And like I said earlier, you're going to hear from Mark Ryland, who's also just going to talk about security, which is important. Now, the other thing that was really fantastic, when we launched this region in July, we launched it and are continuing to do things to drive the next generation of technology. And what we're going to be doing here, which is also kind of unprecedented, we're going to be launching Ground Station as a service. So what does that mean? Ground Station actually allows customers to downlink satellite capabilities, all their data through satellite, with the infrastructure that they need. And this will be our first spot in the Middle East, and we're doing it in conjunction with the Economic Development Board, who's fielding 2 of these ground stations. So they're among the first in the world to use AWS Ground Station. And what this really, at a very high level, is space technology is changing, satellite technology, and the use of cloud is going to transform that. So we're grateful to be able to launch it here and have a partner like EDB to be able to run the first or field the first 2 ground stations. So the other thing that was really interesting about launching this, we out of the gate immediately had our APN partners taking advantage of the region. And we had 36 partners launch tailor-made offers just for the Middle East region. So here's all the partners' logos, but this was really amazing because we didn't know how this would pick up. But again, 36 partners, and of course now it's growing. But this is kind of cool because what this means is this is not just AWS coming in and you're using AWS services. This means we have opened the market to every imaginable partner to be able to launch their services faster. And one of the things we always talked about was not just local, but regional and global capabilities for the partners here to run your business. So again, these are just the beginning ones to get started, but everything imaginable from special offers like cloud advisory services, cloud migration services, and more. And among those are all my odd computers and Computer World, who both attained the AWS government competency. So I don't know if you guys are in the room, but thank you for the government competency, and we're going to continue to get more of those partners to do that. So if you're interested, go explore the expo hall today, and you can meet some of these partners and learn about their offerings and how they set up their solution to get going quickly on AWS. So now let's talk about kind of powering a digital economy in the Middle East. Well, when I told you back in 2014 I met the Crown Prince, one of the big things that we had the conversation about was a digital economy in the Middle East. You have such a young population here. You have learners, you have individuals who are curious, and that cloud computing would kind of feed that curiosity and allow the builders to build and do things and learn faster. So we offer a very wide range now of tutorials and tools for instructor-led training. We have over 500 online free training courses. And if there's one thing that you take away from what I'm telling you today, please go get trained. You can do this on your own. You can do this in person. But this is going to be one of the most important things that happens for the economy here. Is for everyone to skill and reskill. Technology, while it's changed a lot, the ability to actually go get trained is much easier. We're making it as easy as possible, both through our partnership with individuals throughout the Middle East and Tamkeen, which you're going to hear about a little bit more here locally, that's actually doing something unprecedented with actually training partners or individuals and paying for that solution architecture training. So it's really amazing. So the opportunities here are really unlimited. We have already trained employees in the government in 70 government entities. Thank you for that. You were one of the first out of the gate, Ahmed, to do that, covering more than 1,200 courses, and we're just getting going. So again, if there's one takeaway from anything I say today, please go out and explore these courses and get trained. And we're making sure that we offer these in a broad way, from everything from our AWS Educate to our Academy programs. And again, the key is free resources and free training to kind of get you going. But in addition to that, we do, of course, have a large office here in Bahrain where we opened that up not too long ago, and we continue to hire. But we also have offices in the UAE, and we have an office now in Saudi Arabia. So we want to continue. You're going to see us open up more offices across the Middle East. But it's important because we want to be there with you and help you through this journey. So now let's talk about enabling entrepreneurs. You have heard a lot about startups. Well, I don't know if you know this story, but at the beginning of our journey for AWS, how we really got popular was through individual developers and engineers and startups. Startups were kind of the early DNA, and they remain very key to what we do at AWS, because startups use so much of their startup dollars on technology servers. So they didn't really have the cash they needed to move faster or to be able to try and fail and then learn from those failures, but move without a high cost. So what the AWS Cloud has allowed startups to do is move faster, experiment, and try things. So they are so much a part of what we do. So we continue to work with accelerators, angel investors, venture capitalists, private equity firms, all around the world, and we want to see the Middle East grow in what they're doing in this area, because this having the funding, backing, and capabilities allows those startups to move much faster as well. And there are core groups like Oasis 500, Area 2071, the Economic Development Board, and many, many, many more around the Middle East. So today, we provide, for the startups that don't know about this, we provide credits and training in our AWS Activate program. So I encourage you to talk to our team and get going on that if you don't know how to understand or use that program. Okay, now our partners. I want more partners. Partners, we cannot do our work without partners. Partners are force multipliers of the digital economy and the ability to move much faster. And the one thing I've noticed on my last almost 10 years of being here is how much faster partners are moving, because they're now building their applications and moving to the cloud rapidly. So again, they can scale and be competitive. But these are examples of just a few of our partners and customers totally across the Middle East. So when you see all of our partners, thank them, because without our partners, we couldn't have these customers across the Middle East to be doing the work they're doing. And again, I remember we used to have like 10 logos, and now we have tens of thousands of active customers across the Middle East and North Africa. So this goes to show how quickly customers are picking up and moving to the cloud. And believe me, you all are moving faster in this part of the world than many other parts of the world. So I would say take advantage of that and keep going. So now, speaking of innovation, our next speaker is truly a cloud pioneer. And alongside the great team of Bahrain, IGA, he's not only adopting the cloud transformation to the government and for the government, but he's doing it really fast. So he's going to talk about moving fast in government, which a lot of people do not think governments can do. But please put your hands together and welcome to the stage with me, Deputy Chief Executive of Operations and Governance for the Bahrain IGA, Sheikh Salman Khalifa. Come on up.
Thank you, Theresa. Now, Amazon's done such a great job in helping businesses adapt to the constant change of customer demands. And the government is secretly jealous of the private sector. We are always looking for inspiration of how they can adapt so quickly to the customer's needs. And we needed to really change the way we work in government. We needed to be more agile, but the policies and procedures that we had to deal with are complicated and built up over decades. But change is happening. We've seen this in the country. Over the last decade, we've seen the labor market reform has changed so dramatically. But we also seen how establishing a business can be done in a much better way. So the current process, or previously happened, that we needed to take our application to 7 ministries to get an approval for a commercial registration. And it took almost 30 days to get any approval done. But today, with Sigillat, we're able to finish it in less than 2 days, which is an incredible achievement. But the project took 3 years, a very long time. We had to write the tenders, we had to re-engineer the processes and get the hardware, deliver them, install them, and it really took a really long time. But in the meantime, we've been moving to the cloud. We've been working really hard to get our infrastructure in the cloud. And to date, we've moved 600 servers to the cloud, and we've got 1,100 servers ready to go. We've seen incredible savings. CapEx is down to 100%, basically no CapEx. OpEx is down 60%, massive saving government costs. But that does not mean anything. We're just saving money. We're not moving any faster. We need to do things a lot different. We need to develop applications in a much faster way. We need to provision the infrastructure in a better way. So that means changing everything we do in IT, how we get our infrastructure, how we procure our software and the latest technology, how we deploy the infrastructure, and how we develop our applications. So I'm going to talk about 3 sectors that we've recently overhauled using the AWS platform. Now, we're all aware that the entire region is adapting the VAT, and the VAT needs an ERP. And an ERP is infamous for being too expensive and takes too long to implement. And this is the reason why. We need 64 servers to run an ERP. The infrastructure related to manage that, the network, the security, it is a massive undertaking. And a typical ERP project takes 16 months if we're lucky, 16 months. But with the help of AWS, we were able to cut that down to 5.5 months to production. We also needed to protect ourselves better. As you all know, we've been attacked front, left, and center, and we needed to bring projects forward. And we needed to replace the software at the endpoints of 26,000 endpoints in a very short period of time. So we turned to the AWS Marketplace to find the solution that we really thought would help us protect us better. But if we've done the old way, it would have taken us 5 months. Now, in 5 months, a lot of damage can happen. We can't tell the hacker, wait 5 months till we get this sorted. So using the marketplace, we were able to deliver the same project in a little over a month. 26,000. Now, the bread and butter of IT is basically custom applications in the government. And it is a nightmare to re-engineer applications. And one of the most successful applications that I've seen in recent times is Binayat, where we get permission for new construction. So the government decided to stop being the actual operator of the process and being the regulator of the process, and re-engineer the process from beginning to end, to reduce the approval time, to monitor the process through KPIs, and unify the regulations for building. The process spanned 13 ministries, all sitting in one room. And usually, this process typically takes 130 days to get planning permission to build anything in the country, at least. The mandate from the government was to deliver building permit within 5 days. So if you want to build a house, you'll get the approval in 5 days. That was the mandate. And to deliver all of this system, business process in 4 months. Now, you guys being IT, you know how impossible it is to do anything in 4 months. So we had only one choice, is to take this application to AWS. We used every single tool out there. We've used the security, Guard Duty, WAF, Cognito. We built it using the CI/CD from Code Pipeline. We used a third-party Camunda workflow engine. We used Lambda, RDS, S3, and an API gateway. Every tool that was available at AWS, we leveraged. And we were able to deliver it in 4 months with the help of AWS. An incredible achievement, and everyone pitched in to help it. And using AWS did one thing. It allowed us to focus on what is important to us. It is delivering efficient government services, not infrastructure, not security, just the product. And maybe with this kind of cloud environment, with AWS, we can claim that the government of Bahrain could be potentially faster than the private sector. Thank you very much.
About government faster than the speed of business, I forgot to get up. So that is amazing. Government faster than the speed of business, huh? That is a real feat. But I think this is a great example of exactly what governments can achieve. And I will just share for a moment my boss, Andy Jassy, who, again, I should thank because of his sponsorship for us for this region. He and I have always believed that government should have the same capabilities as any startup. And I think what you just saw is a fantastic example from Sheikh Salman on what can happen with governments when they put their head to it and say, what kind of tools do I have for building and moving fast? So thank you for that. So now let's talk a little bit about, I think I went forward too fast. Sorry, can you go back one for me? Let's talk about education in the Middle East. I got myself kind of messed up. Again, I'm so excited about this, I'm moving too fast. So using education as a tool for accelerating innovation. I think this is, again, what did I say? The one thing I wanted you to do if you don't take away anything else go get trained. It'll be one of the most important things that you've ever done is starting to reskill and understand cloud computing. And we want to be able to remove all the barriers that you actually have here in the Middle East. So today, I'm actually thrilled to announce the University of Bahrain, in collaboration with our AWS Educate team, is launching the first ever cloud computing degree program in the Middle East. Yay! That's fantastic. So exciting. I mean, this is a really big deal. And the difference in this program is we're going to work backwards from the skills that the employer needs. The key to this is providing the skills that the employer needs and working backwards. Because when people graduate, what do they want? A good job. And in order to walk out and get a good job, you actually need the actual right skills. So we're going to be working in very close collaboration, and the University of Bahrain has been a great partner of ours since the very beginning. So we're going to get started on this fast. We're going to start it in early 2020, and the university is going to launch the certificate. But here's the most interesting thing about this program. This certificate is going to be used across all degrees. So what does that mean? If you want to learn about cloud and how cloud can actually help you in what you're doing, whether it be finance or health or gaming, you can actually take the cloud computing certificate so you can understand how you apply technology into whatever business area that you're working on. So that's unprecedented. We haven't offered that anywhere else around the world yet. So that's really good. So we'll be using the University of Bahrain for an example for everyone else, just like I think you partnered a little bit with NOVA, Northern Virginia Community College, which was our first 2-year degree. And we're trying to share best practices around the world with all of our partners and customers on how to do this. So then, that's only phase 1 or step 1. And then step 2 of this, in the fall of 2020, the university will be then starting a 4-year degree. So they're going to do it in a phased effort, which is actually pretty cool. And again, we're working hand in glove together on both creating and rolling out the curriculum. We're going to learn together, and we're going to work backwards from the jobs that individuals need here in the Middle East so that you're not wasting time. We want to put you right to work. So exciting. Yay! I think this is amazing. Thank you. And then also, as we continue to expand opportunities, you all here in the Middle East and Bahrain have worked very closely with me on a personal level, which I love. A program near and dear to my heart is something called We Power Tech. And We Power Tech is really about expanding courses for everyone, diversity candidates, women, and those that are underserved. So it's important for us not just to let those who have immediate access, but we want to make sure that we're also providing those who don't always have access. Now, one of the most interesting things about here in Bahrain in the Middle East is there are so many amazing and beautiful, smart women that are in IT here, which is kind of unusual. There's almost more women that work in government there are here in IT than most other places around the world, doing the very hard jobs of security and coding. But we want to continue to do that and make sure that all women have opportunities, not just for that, but for leadership positions and the underserved communities. So we'll continue to launch and add classes, and here's some of the dates that we'll be doing around the Middle East. And they're going to be free training and education, but stay tuned. We're going to have more and more of those. And in fact, we had a panel this morning that I wasn't able to attend, but I heard it was amazing. So thank you to all the powerful women that were on that panel today talking about their journey as we think about expanding that. So if you have an opportunity, hunt down these women today and talk to them about what they're doing. So also, I had another exciting day yesterday with Sheikh Nasser, which was a lot of fun. We are not only doing our program with the University of Bahrain and We Power Tech, But as I mentioned, we continue to think about how do we work together with the Middle East to do skills development. And yesterday we signed an MOU with the Ministry of Youth and Sports to be their first partner in their new internship program. And the program is going to provide opportunities for on-the-job training for young and upcoming professionals. And I think this is a great model. We're going to kind of start small and scale this because we want to get it right. And what does this mean? We'll be bringing interns in. We'll have a process where we select these interns. And we're going to provide them opportunities here locally with our team in the office. We might take them to Seattle or Washington. We've got to figure out what the right program is. But it's basically going to provide them an internship of experience on how they can work in IT. And I want them to experience everything from not just the coding and development, but sales and marketing, business development, operations and finance. There's so many opportunities, technical writers, security professionals. There's all kinds of areas. So we'll be working with them. And what an exciting program. And I just want to encourage other partners of ours to sign up and participate. Now, it's important, I've heard this from day one since I've been here, that in order for a region and companies to be successful, that we have to make sure that we're localizing our services for the support of our customers and partners. So we've launched Arabic-related machine learning services, which are some of the most in-demand services in the world. And these include things like text-to-speech technology with something called Amazon Poly, our speech-to-text service, Amazon Transcribe, and then translation services called Amazon Translate. So these are all in Arabic now, which is really important. And then I think I mentioned the Emirates MBD, who's using an Arabic version already of Amazon Poly, called Zane, to innovate new voice banking solutions. And we are also introducing our instructor-led courses in Arabic, which I think you need these in Arabic. It's important, and we'll continue to add more. And we've launched our new website in Arabic. So you have a single source to go to meet kind of your cloud journey demands. But you're going to see us continue to translate everything in Arabic. But please give us feedback on things that you need more of and that we're not moving fast enough on. But again, this will be really important for us to be able to provide you the tools you need and the language that you need it in. And for also anyone who's interested in learning more about open source, today we are releasing an Arabic version of the popular book Open Source for Enterprise. So if you're interested, go download that on Amazon or buy a copy. But it's written by two Amazonians, and it's going to teach you about open source software in the enterprise and how you can actually can contribute your code base to this open source community. But it's a free copy. It's free, so go download it today and start taking advantage of how to use open source for your company. Now, these programs, like I said, we want to make sure that they're designed to serve all of our customers. So our next speaker is the Deputy Group CEO for Bank ABC. He and his team are using AWS to power ABC Digital, which is a state-of-the-art online banking platform. And here to explain more and to help me, please put your hands together and help me welcome Mr. Sahil Alwari. Come to the stage. Yay! Very good. Thank you.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and privileged to be here today with you. I just want to say to the government, I envy you and I'm jealous now as a private sector. You've done a great, guys, and we are very proud of you as the government of Bahrain. As a banker, for many, many years, I'm not going to tell you how many years, probably you'll guess my age, I'd like to just share with you the future in banking in just a few minutes. How do I see the future of banking? Under the 4 I's principle for me. Imagination, innovation, integration, and inclusion. The I of imagination Let's imagine the future cities with the technology disruption, with the cloud. Let's imagine the future banking and bankers. Will banking become invisible? Will banks be branded like Amazon? Innovation, AI, artificial intelligence, embedded in our day-to-day life. The working force of the future under threat. Working force in banking under threat. With the introduction of artificial intelligence, robotics, banks and bankers, I'm not going to say they're panicking, they start embracing AI, using the cloud, technology, the big tech. And integration, the eye of integration, the digital disruption and fintech enabled the data sharing from government, banks, consumer, to give a better customer experience and journey. So today the data, the big data, is the new oil. Finally, the eye of inclusion. Financial inclusion. I'm so pleased to hear AWS today embraced inclusion. The financial technology and the disruption of technology accelerated inclusion. But as we speak, we still have 1.7 billion unbanked, underserved. And I can tell you, I can see a big role by AWS and by tech reducing these numbers. Now, I've said this 4I principles. We bank ABC. Probably the majority of you maybe don't know Bank ABC. We are headquartered in Bahrain. We are in 18 countries. We're a wholesale bank, but in the MENA we are a retail bank. We have over 100 branches in the MENA. And we recently have embraced a new digital strategy based on the digital disruption. And this digital strategy, because you have a bank, you have to run the bank, and transform the bank. You cannot close the bank and say, no, I need to transform. So you have to do two things together. So we have to modernize the bank, continue investing in our infrastructure. Heavy investment. And then evolve. How you evolve the bank? Introduce new products. A new cloud. But that's not enough. I went to the board, I said, I want to disrupt the bank. Panic. I want to introduce a new digital-only bank, and I want to put it in the cloud. Another panic in the board. Cloud, not secure. With the help of AWS, our partners, we have introduced cloud-first strategy. Cloud-first strategy, that means I only look at the application if it is cloud-based. Most technology innovation is driven in the cloud. Today, I know many bankers and many regulators. They're spending all the time, is the cloud secure? I know, we are in 18 countries, so I know many, many regulators. And every time I go and see them, why are you using cloud? Is it safe? I'll tell them my message to the bankers and to regulators today. Spend your time to make sure that the cloud service is secure, rather than is it secure. Work with your partners, work with AWS. So I see the future, cloud computing has become computing. Cloud will become fact of life. It's not hype, guys. It's happening. We, Bank ABC, we've taken a bold move with the help of two entities in Bahrain. EDP, Khalid Rumehi, and His Excellency Rashid Al-Maraj of Central Bank, where they have put some regulation for the clouds. Without their support, Bank ABC will not be able to put its first wallet in January 2018 with the cooperation with Betelco. We launched our first digital wallet in January 2018 in the cloud. It's a big achievement for the region. I'm conscious of time, but I will go fast, just have a few slides. So we launched our digital wallet in the cloud. Big disruption. And now in a couple of months, Bank ABC is going to launch his first digital-only bank on the cloud. Everything, only 2 months. And I will announce the date in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a digital-only bank on the cloud on AWS. From onboarding to banking system, customer experience, CRM, everything on the cloud. That's the reality. But let me tell you something else. 2 months ago, I'd been approached by 2 major regulators in the region. He said, Sahil, why are you launching it in Bahrain? Why don't you? Bahrain is so small. Come to North Africa. Come. I said, okay, I'll come. Do you have a cloud strategy? Do you have regulation? He said, no. I said, I'm not coming. Basically, this is it. The formula have changed. In the past, we were chasing regulators. Today, regulators say, look, I will come to give you my wallet. I'll give you my digital-only bank, but give me a cloud strategy. Give me a regulations. I'm so proud to be in Bahrain that we have a cloud regulation, cloud strategy regulated by Central Bank of Bahrain and by government of Bahrain. This is a bold and brave move, guys. And we're very proud to be here. So the cloud, the future, going to change the working force, whether we like it or not. Cloud computing and agility work together. We require a totally new mindset. Today, if a banker still lived 10 and 15 years ago, you will never move. You need to take a bold move to be able to take this step to put your application in cloud and benefit from the artificial intelligence today. So, shift of mindset is very important. Now, the bankers of the future, and this is very important, they're not the bankers of yesterday and today. Today, my recruitment for my digital-only bank, I didn't recruit investment banker. I didn't recruit corporate banker. I recruit people who have experience in digital marketing. People understand API. People understand cloud computing. People understand data analytics and data science, artificial. I have a young team, fresh graduates from university. They are the force behind this developing this digital bank. I'm very proud to say there are 90% of these people are Bahrainis. So Bank ABC today, we are the first bank to create a new division. We have a data scientist and we have artificial intelligence team. And we launched a new innovation lab headed by Dr. Yusuf Al-Madhi Bahraini. He's with us here, basically for the innovation and to look at the data science analytics. So Bank ABC today is a founding member of AWS Ideas Factory. I'm very proud to be with you guys and help you to move forward. Let me now leave you with this message.
Hi, I'm Fatima, the first digital employee at Bank ABC, and I'm excited to be part of such an event. People often ask me where I live, and guess what? I live in the cloud above Bahrain.
Thank you very much.
love what you're doing. I want to come see the Ideas Factory. Wow, that is amazing. I think, again, that is absolutely a testimony of what is changing here in the Middle East. And banking is moving very fast here. And what Bahrain is doing, and we hope the other Middle Eastern countries, GCC, will jump on board, is regulations that are going to help the financial industry move faster when it comes to digital innovation. So thank you again. That was amazing. I'm inspired myself by all this. So now let's jump into our next speaker. We always say at AWS that security is job zero. When I started my business in 2010, I could not go in and talk to anyone. I mean, literally, we would walk into any government customer and they wouldn't have any conversation with us until we got through security. And my team would be frustrated, and I was like, no, this is an important topic for our customers. They need to understand that the cloud is secure. They need to understand how they use the cloud, what the partnership is between AWS and them, our customers and partners, to ensure that they have safety and security in and of the cloud. So for our next speaker, I hope you hang tight, because it's a very important topic that you should learn and understand and continue to learn and understand. But Mark Ryland, again, I hired Mark, so I can call him mine. But he has been with AWS now for almost 10 years, and now he's in our CISO's office, going around the world and helping our customers understand and be more secure. So put your hands together for Mark Ryland. Here you go.
Thank you, Theresa. It's great to be here this morning. So I remember very well when we came here, 5 years ago for the first time, and introducing some of these important concepts of disruption, of change, of innovation, agility. And I've been here several times since. It's really great to be back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about security. This is obviously a very deep and potentially very broad topic, but we're going to hit some highlights today and talk about some things that sometimes we don't often talk about. A little bit more about some basic principles that are necessary to understand, I think will be helpful. A little bit of things kind of under the covers. We talk often about our services, our security capabilities, and we'll have breakout sessions where we go deep on a lot of those things. But this morning, I want to talk about two other kind of themes. First of all, the more around the physical nature of what we build, the infrastructure, the networks, and the launch of the new region is really a great opportunity to talk more about that so that you can understand all of the work we do to build highly secure and highly available systems. And then in addition to that, we'll talk more about security culture, principles, things that you can think about, things you can implement in your environment, whether you're using cloud or not, and then some special capabilities and properties of the cloud to help you build a secure culture, a secure foundation, and use those principles to be successful. Now, as you know, there are three primary concepts in the general area of information security, and confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, we often tend to focus on confidentiality, and that makes sense. You want your information to be only accessed by those who are authorized to access it. But integrity and availability are also part of information security, because data that has been corrupted is not secure, and data that's not available is also not secure. You have to be able to reach your data, the authorized users, or you don't actually have a secure system. So let's talk a little bit more about some of these concepts, especially around availability and integrity, and how we design cloud to really enable those in a very deep way. And we'll start with a kind of an analogy, but not really. A building. We all know what a building is. It's something we're familiar with. It's has a certain integrity, and they're generally properly constructed. They work well. They don't cause us any trouble, generally speaking. And in information technology world, you can think of this as a data center. But sometimes things do go wrong. Buildings can have problems. They're not invincible. You can have lightning strikes. You can have earthquake faults. You can have power problems. There are things that can go wrong in a particular location that cause availability problems, that cause something to not work properly for you. So in our world, when we started out to build a highly secure, highly available cloud, we never were comfortable with the idea of having our cloud capabilities be in a single physical location. From the very beginning, we looked at this model and said, one data center, even a big, powerful data center, it's just not good enough to build the kind of secure, highly available systems that we want to build and deploy, as well as we want our customers to be able to build and deploy. So from the early days of AWS, when we started to build our cloud capacity, we recognized this problem with this single building notion. So you see this in the industry, unfortunately. There are these outages that occur when people build cloud systems that are based on single physical locations. Literally, lightning strikes, things happen, things go wrong. You want to build something that is more broadly spread, more capable, more able to be resilient under the face of things that happen, of uncertainties. And so, when we think about building cloud capabilities, we always think about more of this concept of a campus. So imagine instead of one building, there's multiple buildings, multiple locations. And here the analogy starts to break down, because I'm not talking about a campus with a wall around one place. I'm talking about highly spread out capabilities across kilometers and kilometers apart from one another. This enables you to design systems that, even should you have a failure in that local single location, systems can continue to operate without disruption of the customer, whether it's our services we're providing to you or the services that you build on top of us. So this gets to that core notion Theresa already mentioned that's very important in terms of how we build, deploy, and how we present our services to our customers. It's the concept of an availability zone. So when you think about an Amazon cloud capacity or region, like the region we've launched here recently, think of it as not just a data center, but of multiple locations spread many, many kilometers apart, all wired together with a very high-speed network that enables you to have both the sense experience of a single place because it's so powerfully networked. You have the experience of a single place where you write data, you get back a result, and it feels like one thing. But under the covers, what we've done when you do that data write is we've replicated it to multiple physical locations, securely stored it, and then returned a success result to you so that you know that it's not just in one data center, but it's in multiple data centers. So to do that, we have this architecture of at least 3 data centers, 3 availability zones, and the availability zones can be made up of even more than one data center. Depending on the size of the region, these availability zones grow. They can be very large. And so we can add data centers to make that logical unit bigger and bigger and bigger. And in that world, we then build these very high-speed, what you can think of as metropolitan area networks. So linking these availability zones together with a fiber optic network that's extremely rich and powerful that enables us to do that high-speed replication so that you experience this region as one thing, but it's actually composed of lots of locations, lots of capacity spread across a lot of space. Moreover, the network links are highly redundant, so there's no single failure path. If you look at this diagram, you see those lines between every location. That means that for each possible network path, there's always redundant paths and ways to go around. So we're constantly watching to make sure those networks are up. If we see any glitches or any problems, we can route around that weak link within a matter of seconds, maintaining availability for you. And we also have redundant connectivity to the outside world. So at the edge of this network are these things called transit centers. That's where we connect either to the public networks or to your private networks through the feature we mentioned earlier called Direct Connect. Drilling a little bit more down into an availability zone, how we design these. So these are highly isolated locations with unique networking, power, unique analysis of potential issues around flooding and earthquake zones, all the things that you can think of that might affect availability. We make these designs such to minimize the chance that anything could go wrong with more than one availability zone at a time. In addition, obviously separation is important here to maximize resiliency. There is a bound, however, because you also need that high-speed network connectivity and that ability to have what's called synchronous replication, meaning do a data write, get back a result. It's already replicated across multiple locations. So there is an outer bound to the size of these regions. So you're always balancing that. The further apart, the better from an availability perspective. But there is a limit based on the speed of the networks and the ability to replicate data. So we want these things to be many kilometers apart, sometimes as many as 50 or more kilometers, but at least 10 or so kilometers. Unique power infrastructure, again, you're trying to avoid any type of correlated failure, so you build completely separate power systems for these. And the networking, these can grow very large, and really the networking is really, really key. You want to have these connected with multiple fiber strands, lots of redundancy. And something that we just launched recently, it was a multi-year project. It's really exciting to be able to talk now about all the work that went into it. We now encrypt all network traffic between our physical locations. So every time our data or your data leaves a physical location where we have physical security, walls and gates and guards and guns and all the things you do around a data center, whenever the traffic leaves one of those secure facilities, we encrypt all the data all the time. Now, we encourage you to encrypt too. Multiple layers of encryption are fantastic. So keep using, transport layer security and other security features of your networking stacks. But we're also taking care of that, whether it's between availability zones or across the globe, as we'll talk about in a minute. We actually encrypt your data using state-of-the-art encryption technology, protecting you against those kinds of pretty obscure threats, but not completely unrealistic, that someone could be tapping those networks as they transit across space that we're not in control of. So speaking of that global capacity, again, many vendors are out there talking about how many cloud regions they have, but perhaps a more important question that you might ask of your cloud vendor is, how many availability zones do you have? Because it's really the availability zone that's a core concept for building and deploying highly, highly available systems. Until recently, we were kind of the only vendor, actually, who was kind of preaching this message of highly sophisticated systems, highly available systems, building through this concept of an availability zone. And I'm happy to say that now other vendors are adopting that. Why am I happy? I mean, you could say, well, hey, they're now matching your competitive advantage. But really, it's good for the cloud industry if we build and deploy systems that are highly, highly secure and available. And the fact that other vendors now are copying this design, in my opinion, in our opinion, is really a good thing. So you'll see this become more pervasive. But this is what we've done from the start, and we do it everywhere, where many companies are starting to retrofit this capability into their existing systems. So what do we have? We have, again, zooming back to the global infrastructure, we have now, as Theresa mentioned, 22 regions globally, 3 more announced, 69 availability zones, and a massive global network, more than 2.6 million miles of networking. That's more than 100 times around the globe of a network that connects this infrastructure. And once you get on our private global backbone, your traffic will always ride on that backbone, fully encrypted, fully protected by all the methods that we use, and enabling you to have a global presence in your applications that you deploy and to benefit from the security that we build into these systems. So that's a bit about this first theme of building on a strong foundation. Let's move on to this idea of us building and fostering a security culture. And we'll talk about some of the principles that you can use. Some of them are fairly generic, but super important. Others are more oriented towards cloud and towards modern platforms. What are some of those really important generic principles? And these are ones that we really live by every day, and we encourage you to do the same. Let's take 2 of these right off the bat. And they go together, actually. The one is the principle of least privilege. So this idea is whatever authorizations users have, you want to minimize that to what they actually need to get their work done. So many times in the history of the industry, we've seen this problem of stolen credentials, phishing attacks, what have you, and the attacker will get access to some users' privileges, and those privileges will be very broad, much broader than they actually need to get their work done. The result, therefore, can be some significant problems in your security environment. So as you go about designing your systems, and as you go about building things, and as you go about deploying and managing user access, think a lot about locking down privileges to just the things required for a user on a daily basis. And if there are things they occasionally need, you can have what's called step-up authentication or step-up authorization. But don't give people broad access to systems. And this is really important in our world especially, or anyone running IT systems, in the area of administrative access. So you have administrative users. They have powerful access to systems. You really want to think a lot about limiting the access to just what's needed for their normal work. And this is where we get also now into this other really important principle, super important in our world, and it should be in yours as well, which is what we call separation of duties. You should not have one or a small number of human beings with vast, powerful, broad access. You really want to begin to segregate their privileges so that they can work on particular systems, but no one human being has access to a broad set of systems in a highly privileged way. Separation of duties can be both physical and logical separation. So let me give you an example. In our world, obviously we run these vast data centers with a lot of automation, a lot of modern processes. And one of the great benefits of our designs is physical access to a data center is completely distinct from logical access to the systems running inside the data center. So as a data tech working in a data center, I can go about my job and do everything I need to do, whether it's installing new equipment coming through secure deployment channels, whether it's wiring networks, all these things, and in some cases, we have this, as we modernize, we have to decommission systems at scale as well. All of that can be done by human beings that have no logical access to the systems that they're working on. They can't log into them. They don't have access to the control systems that understand things like where customer data is and so forth. So that is a very strong principle of separation of duties. Conversely, on the other side, we do have powerful administrators for each of our services, logical administrators, but they don't have physical access to the data centers. Why would they need that? It makes no sense in our world. But that's a big benefit for you, because that means that someone who does have access to a system, for example, that might map data locations, is not able to go to a physical place where that data exists. We keep those strongly separated. Moreover, we separate the administrative access of the different types of services so that if you're an administrator of for example, a simple storage service, S3, you're not an administrative user of the EC2 compute platform. So each service has its own set of administrators. Those are all kept distinct, and that separation of the least privileged principle and the separation of duties is really, really important, and we encourage you to do that as well. That's true across all IT systems, but let's talk a little bit more about how you can modernize and do even better in this world using automation. Automation becomes really, really key. In the cloud world, you can now, for the first time, make everything that people do is automatable, it's programmable. So every human action can be a software action. And this enables you to now make it so that even privileged users don't have direct access to systems. Instead, they write code and they write scripts and they write software that does the actual data management on those platforms. But the human beings themselves are kept away from that direct access to the data. This has a lot of benefits. Obviously, security benefit, also an availability benefit, because you really don't want people logging into systems and typing commands. They can make mistakes. You really want them to write secure code and have that code reviewed by their peers and tested, and then the tested software can make the kinds of changes that are necessary in these systems. This concept you may have heard, and I will just use the buzzword here, it's called infrastructure as code. So in the old days, you could write software at the application layer, obviously, that was software defined. But in the cloud world, the actual infrastructure that you build and deploy, the servers, the databases, the networks, the route tables, all the things that administrators do to build out systems, those can also be automated because it's an API-defined system. So you can use things like the CloudFormation service, which is a template that describes how I want my infrastructure to look. I take that template, and that's actually code that I'm writing, upload it to the cloud, and the cloud will then deploy all my infrastructure in a completely automated fashion, and I'm building everything from the ground up. All the servers, all the network connections, all the gateways, all the databases, that's all built by code. And by doing that, you get some tremendous security benefits as well. For example, because it's all software defined, I can use software to tell if the system has changed in some way that I don't want it to change. So I can actually write down my compliance requirements as code. And I can measure deviation from a known good state. And if something has changed that I don't want to change, I can have software that changes it back, that remediates it automatically. So lots of our customers use these type of capabilities with our config service, config rules, Lambda, to not only deploy code and deploy infrastructure in a secure fashion, but to automate the checking of its current state and remediation of any issues that arise as the systems run. So, give you some further examples of how software and modern systems can be more secure. Things like Fargate. This is a container service that we operate where you don't even have to worry about virtual machines anymore, the lower level primitives. You can instead talk about these containers, and the containers work in a more abstract way, and you only have to worry about the software and the security of the container environment, and you stop worrying about servers. Let's take that to an even higher level. We have a whole set of services that are called serverless. Now, this is kind of an ironic term. Obviously, there are still servers underneath running this software, but the point is you don't have to think about that. You don't have to manage that. You can write code as Lambda, so you upload code functions that are executed based on events, and you don't have to worry about the servers that are running those. You can run those behind an API gateway service, which takes care of many things like authentication, authorization, lots of the properties that you would normally have to write a lot of code for. You can use big data services like Athena, where you just send a query and the cluster management and all that is managed for you. Here's a data set, here's a query. Take care of it for me, send me back a result. And Athena is able to do that. DynamoDB, Amazon Aurora, again, these serverless concepts are simply that you get the functionality of these systems without having to do management of the servers that run underneath them. That said, there still are servers running underneath them, and I'm going to talk briefly about some really cool innovation that we've done in this compute space, in the server space, to build even more secure systems than what anyone has been able to build before. And this is really unique to the AWS Cloud Platform. I'll talk again very briefly about something called the EC2 Nitro architecture. So in our core compute service, on which many of these other services are layered, there is this foundational compute service using this brand new modern hardware techniques in this general family we call Nitro, where we've taken the classical server and a virtualization system and we've decomposed it into these very powerful building blocks. And we've used hardware acceleration to manage a lot of the capabilities that used to run on the main processor. So the main processor now runs only customer virtual machines. For the technical folks in the audience, there's no more DOM0, no more privileged copy of an operating system running there doing a lot of the virtualization work. Instead, we have other computers in that same host that run the software, that create the virtual networks, that create the virtual storage systems, that give you the CloudWatch information, that have the metadata service. All the things that the virtualization service needs to do is now offloaded and run on separate computers in the same physical host. And that enables some really cool capabilities. For example, we can now give you what are called bare metal servers. You can get access to an EC2 instance where there is no hypervisor at all. You have access to the entire Intel motherboard with processor, RAM, and so forth. You can run your own hypervisor, do whatever you like. That enables partners like VMware to run their virtualization stack directly on hardware, but still within an EC2 framework with all the features of EC2. Moreover, from a security perspective, we love this architecture because we've made the system highly, highly secure from our perspective. We've made it so that even our own administrative employees have no access to these systems. They cannot log in. There's nothing to log into. So everything is API-driven, controlled through careful permission groups, separation of duties, and really we've made a big step up for security of the basic compute platform. We've also built a new virtualization layer we call Firecracker. So in these serverless worlds with Lambda, containers, all these short-lived, often very dynamic compute environments, you want to have a virtual machine system which limits and contains every service so that it's highly isolated in the way that a virtual machine service allows isolation. But we needed something that was very fast, very lightweight, because starting a virtual machine might take 3, 4, 5, 10 seconds. And if you're running a Lambda function, you want instantaneous access to compute. So we've launched and open sourced a new technology we call Firecracker, which is a very lightweight virtualization system that allows user code can begin executing less than 125 milliseconds after I start the virtual machine. So in an eighth of a second from the time I say, oh, I need a VM, I can be executing the code that you uploaded to run, say, in a Lambda or in a container. So it's the strength, the power, the security of virtualization with the super lightweight, fast, dynamic nature of containerization. So encourage you to look into that. If you're a technical person who's interested, this is an open source project, and we're building it with the community, but we're already using this to support a number of our services. So a couple more important points before we wind down on this quick security overview. First of all, we want you to encrypt everything. Encryption is just a great thing to do. There's no downside to it. Well, at least there isn't now in our cloud, because in most cases it's free and generally has no performance penalty. And the integration that we have with our services is such that you literally just check a box or call an API, and from then on, we'll encrypt all your data. We do this encryption using a special key management service we've built, KMS, which is really unique in the industry. It's both a FIPS-validated hardware security module, which is, you can think of it historically as like a physical box. So it's both that, but actually it's a distributed system made up of dozens or hundreds of such HSMs and able to support massive scale such that we can do decrypt, encrypt operations in the millions of IOs per second. And so you don't even notice it when you're using the service. You can still do super high-speed operations, encrypt, decrypt every single one, and the KMS service is behind the scenes doing all that work for you in this really scalable way. Tons of security services. I won't go through this eye chart, but this is just to point out that if you go to one of our breakout sessions, we'll go into many more of the details around how you utilize the platform using our identity systems, network protection, encryption features, and so forth. Threat detection, visibility, these are all built into the platform. You still have to use the platform in a responsible way, and another message you'll hear from us if you go to our security sessions, we'll drum it into you over and over again. It's called the shared responsibility model. We take care of a whole lot of the details and a lot of the things, the controls that your experts would normally need to care about, but there are still things you must do and do well to build a properly secure system. So there's still responsibility on the customer side, but we're constantly trying to make it easier and easier for you to do your job well while maintaining the flexibility, because one person's open S3 bucket is absolutely appropriate because of the use case. For someone else, it's a mistake. So we need to give you the tools to not make those mistakes. And that's what we do as we evolve and build on the platform. Of course, we can't do this without partners. You've already heard this message many times, and we'll continue to repeat. It's a powerful base platform with tons of capabilities, but there's so many things that you need to do in a rich and mature IT infrastructure. We can't do everything by any means. And so our partners, and in this case, I'm focusing now on our security partners, can do a lot of what you need to help you build and deploy highly, highly secure systems. So this was the old world that we have lived in for all these years. It was, hey, I can build really secure systems, but now everything's locked down. I can't change anything. Change is painful. I have to go through a big approval process, on and on and on. That's the old world of security. Now we're talking about agility and speed. Well, how does that work? Well, with the cloud technology, you can actually do both. You can have both high speed, agility, rapid change, but you can design and build that in a way that is also highly secure. And remember, security is not just a geeky technical question anymore. This is a question that is now at the board level for every enterprise. It's at the ministerial level for every government agency. We all know how important this topic is. We've got to get it right as a community, working together, using modern tools, using secure DevOps, using all the automation that's available. We can build and deploy highly secure systems in the cloud. Do this together and advance into a really exciting future. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Oh, I get to introduce our next speaker. I'm sorry. I thought Theresa was coming back. It's great to be up here with Max Peterson. Max and I were office mates when he was first hired. We sat back to back in a cubicle when Theresa's team was about 10 people.
Yep, it's true.
Measured in the thousands. And it's great to be back together on stage.
Yeah, it is, Mike.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much for that discussion. Mark and I were just talking earlier today about the early days. So I started with the AWS 7.5 years ago. Now I run our international public sector business for Theresa and for all of our customers and our partners around the world. And in those early days, I used to have a really loud ringtone. And so we would be sitting in the office back to back, and all of a sudden the ringtone would go off, and Mark would literally almost jump out of his seats. So we were having quite a fun time going down memory lane. But what was really important, hopefully, is that you got the takeaway that around the world, and now right here in Bahrain, you have the ability to leverage a very powerful foundation, a foundation that provides highly available, highly scalable computing services and provides them in a highly secure, easy-to-use manner for building your applications. And so I get probably the most exciting part of today. I get to wrap it up by telling you how AWS helps you save time and money. And I'm going to focus on how do you get that innovation, how do you get that speed, how do you get that agility, whether it was to be faster than the government of Bahrain, as Sheikh Salman was talking about, or whether it's to be as innovative as Bank ABC, as Sael was talking about. And that's really what I think is most exciting and fun here. So let's go ahead and run through a quick set of ways that will help you, along with our partners, move faster so you can save money, be more innovative, be more responsive to citizens, serve students on a global basis, and make the world a better place. The first thing that we do is we have a number of programs that are aimed at helping your organization move faster. We have about 60% of the audience here that's a technical audience and about 40% that's a business audience. Using the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, we bring your whole organization together so that you think about cloud computing, speed, innovation, and agility from all of the angles that you need to. Sheikh Salman talked about how important it was to get procurement right. You just heard Mark talk about how important it is to get security right. You don't do that in isolation. And that's one of the key cultural or organizational principles that's important in cloud computing. Cloud Adoption Framework helps you bring your whole team together and have a shared understanding of what the requirements are and how you're going to make this journey fast. The AWS Migration Acceleration Program brings to you the different specific migration guidance, technical support, and best practices learned from literally tens of thousands of customers who've gone on this journey before you. It packages up an easy way for us to be able to deliver that information to you. And excitingly, you heard earlier that we've got a number of partners right here in the region that are also helping customers with special offers around migration and migration assistance. And finally, I think one of the most exciting things is Cloud Endure. You heard a lot about automation. Cloud Endure allows organizations to undertake an automated lift and shift to the cloud. Literally an automated lift and shift to the cloud. And why would you want to do that? Because if you can get out of your old aging infrastructure into the cloud quickly, you can begin saving money faster, being more secure, and starting to innovate and do what you really want to do, which is the type of transformation that we've heard about from customers so far. The second thing that is really important when you think about speed and innovation and saving money and building things is this realization that data has gravity. Data is the way that you're able to start making even better decisions about your business, about your government, about your students, and about education. Because once you get that data in the cloud, then you're able to use machine learning, AI, and these other advanced analytic tools to be able to get more value from your data. So AWS has a number of ways to help you move faster by getting your data to the cloud faster. There's 12 different ways that we do it. I've highlighted 4 here. A couple of them are AWS Direct Connect. So AWS Direct Connect and our partner Betelco delivers that right here in Bahrain today. It allows you to get a high-speed, secure connection to the global cloud so that you can go ahead and get your data up there fast. Another example is AWS Data Sync. AWS Data Sync is a software tool that we give you that helps you accelerate data transfer. It's open source. It helps you accelerate data transfer 10 times faster than classic data transfer methodologies. Another example is what we call AWS Snowball. We'll literally send you out a device, you plug it into your network, you control it, it gets your data, it goes back to Amazon, you plug it back in, again, you control it, you load your data to the cloud, and you're ready to go. And I think one of the kind of the most creative ones that we've got is what we call AWS Snowmobile. And so literally, this is a data truck. Literally, it's a data truck. We drive the truck right out to you. It sucks up petabyte scales worth of data, exabyte scales worth of data, and then we just drive it back to the AWS region, plug it in, and we load that all up for you securely. So data is important, and we help you get data to the cloud quickly and securely. We also realize that our customers need a hybrid environment today. Cloud is not an all or nothing proposition. And so AWS is focused on delivering hybrid cloud solutions to help our customers move faster and save money. A couple of examples there. You've got Snowball Edge, which we talked about Snowball for getting data to the cloud. Well, Snowball Edge also provides a way to do computing right at the edge of the cloud, right with your data. So whether you're doing highly distributed applications, maybe data collection or mapping or analytics, you can actually grab massive amounts of data, do analytics right on them at the edge, and then still get that data into the cloud so it becomes part of your very, very large data lake or your very large global data sets. Another example is AWS Outpost. It's really exciting because now what we're doing is we're pushing functions like compute, the thing that Mark talked about with EC2, out to the edge of the network. And why is that important? Because in today's digital world, there's a lot of high-volume digital data. Think about media. Think about science and seismic, where it's really now important to have that compute very close to the source of the work that you're doing. So AWS continues to listen to our customers. Over 95% of our innovation is actually driven by customers who come to us and they tell us, you know, I like this cloud capability, but it would be really useful to me if it would do 2 or 3 more things. And so this is where many of these solutions continue to propel us to meet customer needs. Outposts was announced last year at our reInvent conference, and it'll be going GA here very shortly. But it's an exciting way to be able to push that computing piece out to the edge of your network. And then another one that's been hugely popular is the VMware Cloud on AWS. We heard a lot from our customers about how they already invested in skills and software to be able to virtualize their in-house environments, and they wanted a way to be able to more seamlessly get that same capability on the AWS cloud. So VMware and AWS partnered, and we deliver the VMware Cloud on AWS now. And literally, this helps you move thousands or tens of thousands of virtual machines out of on-premise VMware environments and into the cloud and back again. It gives you incredible flexibility, it gives you great speed, and it's extremely cost-effective. And so we've talked about many of the ways that we're helping you to advance your speed, do this in an innovative fashion, create a culture of innovation and cloud in your environments. And what I want to talk about for just 1 second is that now you've got your core services into the cloud. What do? With AWS, right now we deliver, and I say right now, we deliver 165 different services. So that means your builders inside your company now have the broadest set of tools to be able to access, to deliver and develop new capabilities. They can experiment fast. They can make decisions quickly. If it works like they want it to, they can scale it rapidly. But you know what? Innovation isn't always that simple or easy. So if it doesn't work, what's probably more important is they can fix it fast. And so with AWS, because you haven't invested in expensive servers and software, you can simply switch to a different way of doing your computing and try that out and then scale that up. So a bunch of these services we're running in the background behind me. I want to take one more second, if you'll stay with me, to double-click on one of the most exciting areas that's out there, and that's machine learning. I can't go around the world and talk to customers anywhere without them wanting to understand how do they start doing more advanced software and system delivery using machine learning and artificial intelligence. At Amazon, we've got a long heritage of using machine learning. Has anybody used the feature where you look at other customers who bought these things? Powerful set of machine learning applied to e-commerce. Relies upon a lot of data and then the algorithms behind it. Already customers right here in the Middle East, like Tuiyar and Bahrain IGA even, are leveraging machine learning. And so let's talk a quick second about how they're doing it. On AWS, we think machine learning should be available to anybody from basic programmers to expert data scientists. And so we deliver our machine learning solutions in 3 different ways. At the foundation, we deliver a broad selection of frameworks that data scientists and machine learning experts use to actually build and train their own customized algorithms. Does anybody use Snapchat? Or for me, does anybody's kids use Snapchat? Well, the makers of Snap, as an example, built their TensorFlow models on AWS so that they could better match user engagement to the advertisers that wanted to reach those users. They were able to do that on Amazon by using these very powerful frameworks and very powerful infrastructure services capabilities. But guess what? Not everybody's a data scientist. So at the next layer, what Amazon does is we deliver tools like Amazon SageMaker that allow your technicians to be able to access the power of machine learning so they can go ahead and do data algorithm training. It's a fully managed service. So they just use SageMaker, and SageMaker then helps them understand how to prepare their data, how to pick out the right algorithms, how to train the model, and then how to tune it and optimize it to get them to the point where they're starting to get predictions, analysis, and they can take action. One example is a company called Digital Globe, and we talked earlier today about how the AWS Ground Station is going to be available here. Well, Digital Globe is the world's leading provider of satellite data. And they use this layer of machine learning from AWS to be able to create an algorithm for speeding up the access to data or caching on a 100 petabyte data set. That's really big. A 100 petabyte data set in a week. And so that's how they're able to use the power of these tools to be able to deliver capability. But what we talked about earlier is not just the innovation piece. They were able to do this and reduce costs by 50%. So saves you money, helps you move faster. And the final layer up here are all the AI-enabled services that AWS provides. And one of the fastest growing areas, and kind of one of the most interesting areas, is a whole area of voice and voice processing and voice interaction. And so we offer services like Lex and Polly. Lex, Alexa, helps you go from speech to text, and Polly helps you go from text to speech. And suddenly, by using these AI-powered services, you can start building really innovative and really powerful things like chatbots and voice conversations and automation of service to citizens or delivery of health information. Or there's some incredible student engagement systems that are being built with the power of voice. In fact, another one is Amerex, who's a leading global provider of logistics and transportation. And she was also on our panel for We Power Tech today. They're taking advantage of Amazon SageMaker so they can develop intelligent address prediction models that convert addresses into precise, exact locations so that they can improve the accuracy of their deliveries. And for anybody else who's excited as machine learning as I am, stick around this afternoon, find the session, and learn how to use the power of your information and your data to start making interesting new products and predictive and recommendation type systems. And that gives me a great pleasure now to get to a customer who's going to join us on stage, Ahmed Ahmeden, who is the CEO and founder of Uniphonic. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Oh, go. Get the high five. There we go. Sorry, I missed it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm truly glad to be here. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share our journey at Uniphonic, the universal API for business communication. And let me start with one question. Raise your hand if you are familiar with Uniphonic. Okay, I was expecting that, few, which make it good for me so I can, by the end you will all get familiar with Uniphonic. But the important question, raise your hand if you are using AWS. Great. So clearly AWS has more customers than Uniphonic. But the important thing, AWS and great technology platforms enable us, we as startups, to be here today. And I'm going to share part of that journey. Back in 2006, at age 20, I was at the university leading one of the student clubs. And I had terrible experience when I needed to communicate message with the student community. So I had an idea. I could solve this challenge using the power of software. 4 months later, with the determination and passion of my partner Hassan, who is with us today, we're live, sending thousands of messages over the internet. Friends and family like it. It was real. 2 years later, we take the bold move. I left the job. We invested our saving, $12,000 to establish and build what's Uniphonic today. With the trust of our early customers and believers and people who joined us back then, we celebrated an important milestone in 2014, 1 billion transactions processed using our platform. We continue that journey with all the obstacles and challenges we faced back then. There was little support from the ecosystem. The availability of the tools is not abundant. But we're able last year to attract the attraction and the trust of one of the biggest Series A fund, $21 million, so we can execute at our mission and scale. At Uniphonic, we are in a mission to empower thousands of businesses in the region and beyond to engage their customers like never done before using our communication platform, using the power of APIs, using the power of the cloud communication. Today, businesses need to engage with their customer across the channel. In a new world, the customers are available in multiple channels, and there are many ways to engage and interact with the customers. Over the 15 years, starting from 2010 to 2025, the amount of communication data is grown by 40 folds. It's a huge data that you need to process and analyze. For each request, you need to receive, response, analyze, update, view. It's a huge work. And the big challenge for us as a technology startups is how we're going to deal with that, how we can scale our infrastructure so we can deal with that. Today, the golden question is not whether, as a businesses, we should adopt the cloud or not. I think this is history. The most important question, how we're going to use the cloud to disrupt our cost structure, to disrupt our scalability, to disrupt our product development effort, and then most importantly, to disrupt our time to market velocity. So back in 2010, it was no-brainer for us. We moved to the cloud. We scaled from 1 virtual machine when we started to more than 100 virtual machines today. And it's growing as we have more customers using our platform. As we speak, we could manage all these virtual machines from one single dashboard. We could connect our customers privately over the network using the Amazon services on the go. We could also monitor the performance of the system real time. All this available to us in AWS. For each transaction, we could do all the processing. And honestly, I cannot imagine how we can do work today without those services. It was It was, for us, a big move, but now it's part of the way we operate and do business. So in the future, as we speak, we are experimenting the brilliant serverless technology with Amazon. We also do experimenting the API management, as well as the real-time data streaming and analytics. We are super excited for the future. Over the last 10 years, the cloud and services like AWS empowered us to be what we are today. For the next 10 years, we are looking to empower our customer businesses using the power of the cloud. And before I conclude, I need to thank the 100 unicorns who really do all the efforts to be. We will not be here today without their efforts. We have few of us here. You can reach us. You can know us from the T-shirt and the passion. And for all the 5,000 customers who trusted Uniphonic, the tens of partners, and for you to give us the time. And one final question. Raise your hand if you know Uniphonic. Thank you. By the way, while we are talking, 200K transactions being processed at our infrastructure at AWS. Thank you, AWS. This one.
There you go. We got that one nailed. Thank you. Hey, what a great story. What I particularly liked about Uniphonic and what Ahmed was talking about was the way he started, right? A student with an idea who then was bold enough to quit a job and trust in himself and his company and his idea and go out on their own. They got some funding, enough to be scrappy like Amazon likes to be and start up. And then what's really great is last year when they secured that round of Series A funding. So what a great story. That's exactly the type of startup ecosystem that we like to inspire and that we hope is able to be powered right here in the region by the AWS region in Bahrain. So I've only got a couple more things, and we're going to get you out of here on time so that you can go ahead and what? Network, learn from others, come up with new ideas, challenge and inspire one another. You've heard a lot about our partners and the partner ecosystem. I want to one last time remind you that part of the power is not just having this secure and highly available infrastructure, not just having the ability to use 165 different services to solve customer or partner or government mission problems, but it is that very large partner ecosystem, all of which, like Uniphonic and others, are constantly innovating on the cloud, so you get access to all of that capability at basically zero cost. In Bahrain right here, we started a couple of years back with not a very large partner ecosystem. We're excited now about the size of the partner ecosystem, and especially excited by those partners who have gotten the skills on board to become advanced partners. So there's 3 advanced partners right here in the region now, and 2 of those partners actually have the further government competency to be able to help IGA, Sheikh Salman, and all of the Bahraini government move faster than business. So I encourage you to meet them all today. The last thing that I wanted to do before I get the very special opportunity to recognize some people is just talk about the pace of innovation. Amazon has delivered this year almost 2,000 new services and features. Think about that. Think about how many new services and new features that means a day. So the pace of innovation is powering a lot of these new digital economy ideas, a lot of new business models, a lot of disruption. But what it also means is that it's really important that we all spend the time to continuously work on skills. It's important that we rethink the way that we train the youth of today to be the digital leaders of tomorrow. And it's why it's so very important for programs like the cloud degree and the cloud certificate at the University of Bahrain to really help the team come up to speed, understand, and then stay skilled on this rapidly moving and this fast-paced environment. And so with that, what I want to do is I want to recognize some of the hard work that's been done by many people across Bahrain here in terms of earning those cloud skills. And I want to congratulate this special group of individuals who've already achieved these certifications. It's been a great partnership. And so I'd like to invite Mohammed Al-Qaid, the Chief Executive of the Bahrain IGA, Dr. Ibrahim Janani, or maybe you didn't make it, who is the Chief Executive Tamkeen that's played an important role in helping to fund these. Theresa, if you'll come on up. And then all of our special guests who have received these certifications. And this group comes from across the Bahrain government, from the National Oil and Gas Authority, from the Information and E-Government Authority, from Bahrain Polytechnic. Come on up here. Watch this. Through the training programs and the initiatives that we've had, over 800 different people across the government have become trained to be able to help Bahrain move faster than business. Bahrain Polytechnic, National Health Regulatory Authority, the Ministry of Education, collectively all of these people have achieved the Certified Solution Architecture Associate degree, or a Certified Developer Associate degree, or a Certified Solution Architect Professional degree, or a Certified Security degree. These are the skills that modern government, that modern corporations, and that startups have to be able to innovate and move fast and design the future of the world. So I just wanted to say congratulations. It's a great feat. Theresa, anything else?
No, I think this is, remember where we kind of started, which was training and education, learning. This conference is about learning. Again, go, enjoy, and participate in the courses. Give us your feedback. And we want to see all of you on stage next year getting trained and certified. So Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all our presenters. See you again next year.
So go get certified. Go dive deep into all of the special technical and business tracks this afternoon. Network and learn with everybody. And then finally, get ready to join us at the largest cloud computing conference in the world in Las Vegas, December 2nd through the 6th at AWS reInvent. We hope to see a lot of you there. I hope to see all of you there learning and developing new capabilities. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah. So let's come together. Who wants to get a photo? Everybody, please, ladies in the front, please. Go all the way in the front. Come on. I'll go.